Lifestyle Pirates with Big J and Adriano.
Okay, good morning, guys. Welcome to Lifestyle Pirates. We are dressed up to the nines this morning here. We are joined with Bayan and Fernando from the Trendy Mark. Good morning, gentlemen. Looking delicious.
Morning.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Pleasure. Welcome to Lifestyle Pirates.
Thank you. I
you
feel
get
like
to
we're
be
actually
here?
dressed down today, so
Well,
makes things a little better.
Mate, normally, I mean, yeah, mate, you're looking the part. You've got a tie on. I think we've got a blend here. We've got some pocket squares. We've got some sunnies. We're looking the part.
some colours as well. For
Absolutely.
brighten up our Sundays.
Absolutely. Look, you guys, obviously in the fashion industry, you're both stylists as well, but you've been pretty active on social media the last few months with this Trendy Mark concept. You've been doing a lot of video contents, a lot of banter and back and forth. How did that come about?
Do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So it kind of came about. We wanted to do something that was not as formal from a styling perspective, and we just kind of sat down and just kind of winged a video. And the first video was about like fashion faux pas, about like stuff that you just are like no-nos in fashion, and we see it all the time in the city with people wearing different style things. And it really kind of kicked off, and we're like, "Oh, got a lot of traction. Maybe we should make this something."
Yeah.
That was basically
Pretty much.
it.
Like, I remember, well, it was like your first week in, so we went celebrating like on the Friday night. I had a couple of drinks, and we caught up for lunch the next day. And during, I think, our hungover lunch, we just started talking. It's like, oh, like, what are some fashion faux pas of yours? And then our reactions to each other's things were just like so priceless. And we just had that epiphany. It's like, imagine if we just recorded this and put it up. Maybe we should just like do one and see how it goes.
Very cool.
So I think from a drunken conversation to where it is now,
Brilliant.
just so candid.
Look, I've had a few friends that have met their wives and girlfriends like that. So, yeah, it's fair play. And so what were some of these faux pas that came up?
Suits and backpacks.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things for me is just seeing a guy in a decent suit and then walking around with a backpack on.
Two straps?
Yeah, two strap. So, like, it just ruins the shoulders. It grates away at the suit. It's just like, why?
So if you did have to carry something, what would you bring?
So like a little briefcase?
Yeah,
something that, or a little tote bag.
Yeah.
Nothing that sort of you want sitting off your body.
Yeah.
Or a
Yeah,
duffel,
Duffel.
something like that.
Yeah.
And what was your faux pas?
Men in suits but wearing like Asics runners.
Oh, what about Yeezys? Are you a fan of those things?
Don't mind them.
Oh, they're hideous.
I don't wear them. I don't have any, but I don't mind them.
Can I just stick up for the men in suits and Asics? Because I do that sometimes. When you
course you
walk
do.
to work, though,
Fashion faux pas one, John.
but when you walk to work and you're in a nice suit, and you're in nice shoes, you don't want to ruin your shoes.
Yeah, but
If they're good shoes, you won't be ruining them.
exactly.
Yeah, take that.
That's another question. Wow.
No, but I do understand the transit between home and work.
Yeah, of course.
And you need that comfort. Of course, yeah, then go for it. But try to get something that matches at least. Something not so loud or
Yeah, like wear a white sneaker.
Yeah.
If it's not
A little bit
or like
trendy.
something, that can go with like you spend all this money on this nice Oscar Hunt suit, and if I see you wearing Asics trainers and
mate.
I will come after you.
I will hunt you down.
Actually, when you said, we sat in the city and watching people walking around, I was like, oh, I wonder where they went for lunch. Did they see me? Yeah. Anyway.
So what you can say that like Asics with a suit could be a trend. What starts a trend though? How does a trend start? How does it come from being nothing to, everyone wanting to do it? Is it really just popular people wearing that stuff?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think you're on the money. I think a lot of people, personally, I believe that a lot of people just look to Hollywood or people that they like or people they look up to or people who are fashionable or known as fashionable in some way, shape or form. And if they're wearing it and then they see someone else wearing it, it's like people doing like media on themselves, like PR on themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, if you see this name and you keep seeing a name and you keep seeing a name, you're like, oh, who is this person? And if the same thing, if you see someone wear, Asics in a suit, you're like, oh, okay. And someone else wear, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then people might get to the point where they're like, oh, it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'll start wearing it. And then it just
Yeah, so it's mainly the popular people. So John, you got a few years, mate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's where that Jerry Seinfeld and denim jeans look came
Sneaks.
from. Yeah.
Oh, that is still not in.
The jeans and trainers.
It's no,
That is still not in.
not acceptable.
It's the whole like Steve Jobs kind of
Turtleneck.
turtleneck and the jeans and the I don't care look.
Yeah.
Well, mate, you got the turtleneck on today.
Mate, feeling cozy.
Feeling cozy? Nice. So, Fernando, your originally background is Sri Lankan.
Yes.
I was reading an interview about you that you're actually originally in chemical waste management.
Wow.
Yeah. Connect those dots.
What's your way to
Natural
work back
progression,
then,
right?
mate? Yeah, 100%.
I mean, walk us through that. Where does that transition come from?
Well, as you know, I was in chemical waste management. I was doing that for about 10 years, but I sort of fell into it while I was studying at uni. So I just needed a job, something that paid well, but nothing that I didn't have to like commit to too much. So chemical waste management was great, quite interesting in the career, but I just didn't like it. I really despised it, but the money was good.
Yeah.
Like it got to a point, like this is about 6 years in. I used to Google symptoms and see what I could get away with just so I didn't have to go to work.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's commitment to a day off.
I just got over it. Like got to a point like I didn't really care. But the money was good and I was sort of climbing the rungs. I faked a concussion a couple of times. So
You faked a concussion.
yep.
Wow.
It's pretty simple. Like Google tells you exactly what you need to say, so you're fine. But it just got to a point where I'm like, all right, what do I like? What do I want to do? And I developed a natural interest for tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
So I started my tattoo journey and appreciation for that. I started getting tattooed, and then I developed a relationship with my tattoo artist. And we were talking about how that's his craft and that's his skill, and he can take it anywhere around the world. And he's not really working for anyone else, and he gets to create these relationships. And I'm like, that's what I want. Like, I would love to do something like that. So he sort of took me under his wing and started teaching me how to draw and stuff like that. But I didn't actually see a long-term pathway in tattooing. Like, I didn't see myself at the age of 50 with a family tattooing. So I had this really weird epiphany moment. Like, I was sitting in bed, had an apartment in Drummoyne, and it was during the storms. In like 2016, and I'm thinking, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? Like, what is my calling? What's my purpose? And literally with a crash and bang of thunder and lightning, at this weird calming wave of like styling. That's what you should be doing.
Wow.
And yeah, I spent the rest of the day writing up my resignation letter, went to work and handed it in, gave him like 2 months notice. And then, yeah, everything sort of snowballed from there.
Wow.
So, like, once you know, you know.
Literally from the heavens.
Yeah, exactly. Just raining down.
Yeah.
So you're quite young in this journey then, aren't you? I thought you'd been doing this for a lot longer.
No, I think this is about third year into styling.
Wow.
Yeah, 2.5 years at Oscar Hunt.
Okay.
But had some pretty amazing moments and
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. What about you, Bane?
Where did I start?
Yeah. What got you into it?
Kind of always been into fashion. Kind of stems through my family a little bit. My mum was a fashion designer back in the UK. And for me, it was just always had a love for it. And then probably around 2016, I moved to Melbourne. And I kind of took some time to really find what I wanted to do. I was working in like corporate, kind of selling software. And I was always helping friends for their weddings and those kind of things. And they're like, oh, can you give us tips? Or want to go shopping? Can you come with me? Like, you always dress well. And it kind of, over time, kept doing it. And I was like, oh, I need to like get more experience in this. Like, I feel like I can do something with it. And I heard about styling, but I wasn't really like convinced on it. You know what I mean? Like, you just hear about like, oh, I'm a celebrity stylist. And you're like, okay, you got to live in Hollywood to make money out of doing it. Like, not many people are interested in it. And then I kind of really looked into it, and after a little bit of researching and actually studying at a school this is actually how me and Fernando met, through Australian Style Institute. They're based in Melbourne, and basically you learn about styling. And as I looked into that and started to do that course, that's when I really got into it. And it was only actually beginning of this year that I actually left my corporate job to go to Oscar Hunt and really pursue it. I was doing it as kind of like a side hustle kind of thing. But then, yeah, it was like beginning of this year, February, where I was like, okay, I'm out. I'm going to go to Oscar Hunt. They'll give me the time to actually do both. And, you know, I was working with Fernando, who we have a good relationship via that, you know, school that we studied at. And we just kind of went from there.
What was your corporate gig?
I used to be in sales. So I used to sell like architectural design software, so CAD software.
Yeah.
I did that for about 6 years. Absolutely hated it.
Sounds boring as.
Yeah. Hey, look, I mean, sales is sales, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, I mean, architectural stuff is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But architects are hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Sorry to all the architects.
So what was the feedback from your peers and your family for both of you? Because it sounded like you were doing very well in corporate, you know, on that kind of corporate ladder.
Yeah.
But you've moved into something which is very transactional, very new to you both. I mean, how did that conversation go?
It was different. I think I was lucky enough that I was with my now wife Shadi, and she kind of really pushed me into it because she's got a fashion label herself, and she was kind of that driving force for me to really. She's like, you've got the eye for it, really go for it. When it came to family wise, as my mum was a fashion designer, so she's like all for it. My dad's like, they were pretty chill. He's like, as long as you know that like, you know, you're going to take a salary cut and you understand that it might be, you know, hard at the start, but if you want to do it, go for it.
Yeah.
And my parents, luckily enough, have been always supportive of, they're like, whatever you want to do, go do it, you know, so yeah, it was actually all right.
And similar for you?
Yeah, pretty much. For me, it's like once I knew that's what I was supposed to be doing, everything sort of just almost fell into place.
Yeah.
Similar to your parents, my parents were pretty supportive behind it. Dad was always like, make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. It's going to be a hard road.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is your sort of career as well. So it's really supportive of that. But once I told people this is what I'm going to be doing, everyone was like, you know what? That makes sense. That is definitely the type of person that you are. It's sort of cool. It just helps the journey and mindset, because when you go through a drastic change like that, your career is effectively almost like your identity. So you're reshaping your identity.
Yep.
So having some really close support network behind you really motivates you to do the natural thing.
Yeah. And I think if people have seen you both as well, like your network, your family, that have seen you both look good and take a passive interest in it, then it's not too much of a jump, is it really? It's kind of a natural fit. People go, oh yeah, it makes sense because you always look good, and actually I come to you for advice and want your opinions for weddings and stuff like that. So okay.
Exactly.
So talk to me about what you learn at the institute. Was it the Australian Style Institute?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you learn there?
So pretty much they start from the beginning. Their approach is quite unique. They sort of take the approach of human behavior and psychology. They really help you understand what the client sees themselves, how they perceive themselves, so you can style them for them. One of the biggest common factors I've seen with other stylists is that they dress other people for them, if that makes sense. So the stylist puts their own flair onto someone else.
So if he likes bomber jackets, for example, he's just going to put you in a bomber jacket whether you like it or not, because he likes that
And
style.
that might not always work.
100%. While with ASI, they sort of teach you how to see what you like, what you're into, like your bold colors, something fun. That would be your style. It may not be mine, but I learned to understand that about you by creating rapport, creating a relationship, and sort of building out the styling consultation that way as well.
Right.
So it gets quite heavy sometimes. There are a couple exercises that you do that helps your client understand themselves in a new light in a way as well.
Yeah, because the psychology behind it all is like, you know, there's a lot to it. You know, there's, you know, why people dress the way they dress, or, you know, why do you put on a suit? Because it makes you feel good and you want to go to work and you want to, you know, feel good. Or why, you know, you might say, oh, my wife bought me this tracksuit, so I'm going to wear the tracksuit. Or I couldn't be bothered to go shopping, so my wife does my shopping. Like, there's so many factors behind why people dress the way they dress, but because it's like eating food. Sometimes you just do it. You know, you're not thinking about what you're dressing. You're just like, oh yeah, I need to eat because I'm hungry. I ate, or I just put on a jumper. But like when you actually dive deeper into it about why, you know, And there's some pretty deep moments when you deal with people that have gone through things, might be breakups, or especially women that have been pregnant and their body shapes change. So it gets gets
no,
pretty
go on.
full on, like, sometimes.
That's the thing though, like no one really teaches you how to dress. Like you're probably 4 or 5 and with your mother picking out your garments or telling you what to wear. And you've gone through such transitional phase, like going through primary school, then going into high school where you start socializing, going out, and then you don't really actually learn to identify with yourself. You're trying to fit into a group or a subculture, or your friends dress this way, so I need to dress this way. So you almost have a false sense of identity.
Because I guess in school as well, you got the uniform that you wear.
Yeah,
So even then, you can't really express, you can't try things.
exactly. And then from high school, you go into university, and that's when your realm stuff opens up even more. You got work, we got bars, we got restaurants, and then again, like as for guys, that's why I sort of got into it. No one really teaches you how to do that, how to dress for yourself, because there's a bit of a taboo around menswear as well. It's just like if you dress well, you get looked upon in a certain way. So everyone just sort of plays it safe.
In what way? How do you get looked on if you dress
Oh,
well?
like there's a connotation of straight males being perceived as gay or homosexuals because they take pride in their appearance.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely shifting now with the emergence of barbershops, but there's still that connotation there. Like I know I've been out a couple of times and have had women thought, it's like, oh, just openly say it's like, oh, I thought you were gay just because you dress nicely. And it's like, you don't have to like be dressed nicely to be like.
What do you mean by barbershop? Like, what's the
Barbershops.
influence the barbershop has had?
It's before like guys didn't really. There's a notion of guys not really taking care of themselves and presenting themselves well, but barbershops in the last 10 years have sort of really emerged and made it okay for guys to like actually invest in themselves.
Yeah.
Like they've got whiskeys when you go there, they have beers. It's a really chilled vibe, and now it's like a fresh fade is like a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Where's his barbershop with whiskies and beers?
Blade and barrel.
Is that where you go?
Yeah,
Blade and barrel?
There's actually a
There's
famous
heaps.
one here in Piedmont.
Is there?
Yeah, a lot of people I hear that they're right here in Piedmont somewhere. I'll find out the name for you.
I mean,
A lot of people I know, they just they drive from like far out west
Yeah.
to come
look,
here.
I'm happy if I get shampoo and conditioner.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
No, well, I go to Blade and Barrel with guys I went to school with.
Yeah.
And they've got like a massive whiskey list, which I help sort
Like
of
there's a
curate.
place called The Barbershop, and that's what they do.
Yeah.
So it's funny you use the term then invest. People choose to invest in themselves by, good clothes, looking after themselves.
Yep.
Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah. Like pretty much your own business card, right? Like it takes less than 3 seconds to make an impression of someone, right? So you could be sitting down at a breakfast like we were, and someone could walk past, you do not know them, but you've already made up a story. You made an assumption,
Yeah.
all right, based off our prior conditioning. So why wouldn't you want to present yourself in the best light before you even say a word, Like be able to walk into a room and then people have a positive influence on you because you've taken the initiative on yourself. Like if you don't take the initiative on yourself, why should anyone else?
As a stylist, is it satisfying to style someone that has a completely opposite style to you?
Yes.
Like, do you learn a lot from that? Do you get more
Massively.
out of that than just some bloke who comes in or female that comes in and just like, just put something on me?
Yeah, massively. I think because for being stylist, it's actually more about the journey and finding, what's best for that person. So when someone's tricky or someone's gone through a lot or whatever, and they're completely different to what you wear or what you're used to, it really tests who you are. And I personally love it. Like as much as I hate it, I love it because sometimes you're just like, oh, this is really tough. But as we said before, like when you actually break down the psychology of what they're looking for, who they are, and you kind of, it's really like investing in that person as well. Like you got to invest time about finding out who they are, where they go, what they do for work, what they like, what they do on the weekend, like everything, every little like detail you need to know. So then you can understand, okay, like this is the way he's dressing because he does this, this, and this. How can we take him out of his comfort zone but keep him in the realm of wearing what he likes? And that's probably the biggest challenge of a stylist because it's not just like always, giving them something that's on trend or giving them something that's, a color that they like. It's actually finding, okay, like we know you always wear black, but what about, green, or what about something else, but keeping it in the style that they actually would wear. And it's very satisfying if you get that client good. Fernando can be a testament to that. It's
like when you get to the end of a styling session and the client sees themselves in something that they wouldn't wear and they're happy with it, it's like them seeing themselves for the first time. Like there's a look in their eye, the smile comes, and you're like, and they sort of like drop their shoulders and they get like, this is me. Like that to me is so satisfying, because my style is like influenced from the 1950s, 1920s, like Peaky Blinders sort of style. So I can't really go around pushing that on everyone.
Great show. Great show.
Amazing. So having a client who's trying to identify with their style, going through the process of the research, then the shopping, then breaking down the wardrobe, and them knowing they're going to be able to dress the way they want to dress and they know how to dress it. It's great.
So I'm getting this sense that it's a very long, it's actually a longer relationship than just going shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it's almost,
Shopping's a byproduct.
Yeah, shopping's probably the least amount of time you do something in the whole style process.
because and maybe this is my just assumption, but you obviously mentioned about people would ask you your opinion for a wedding, which is an occasion. But the stylist piece it's not just for an occasion, it's for life, it's for living, yeah?
Like when I work with a client and they ask the question, what's on trend? I just literally go, I hate trend pieces. We're not shopping for trend pieces right now.
Yeah.
We're shopping for staple foundation pieces where you can just grab whatever you want with your eyes closed, put it together, and you know it's going to look good. So,
right.
Yeah. Statement pieces come later.
Yeah. And it's more about that journey, right? So it's about like if a client comes, to either one of us, it's more about finding out what they have and what we can work with, and then how we can enhance their style in the long term. It's not just like, as you said, like, yeah, we can do stuff for your wedding or you're going to a function, we can give you a nice tuxedo, that's fine. But if you want an overall style consultation and doing the whole process of going through styling with us, it's understanding who you are, then going into your wardrobe, finding out what you actually already have, what you need to throw away that like might be a piece that, you wore at high school and you're like, oh, this is so great. It's like, mate, it's ugly, bin it. You know what I mean? So, and then going out and shopping and then coming back and putting all the looks together. So it's that whole aspect of the process of.
And can you be that blunt with people? Like, I mean, if you went into my wardrobe, for example, I don't know how. I mean, look, there's some retro T-shirts. I've got a few, what I call Target T-shirts. I.e., they were just a little bit too small, but I was like, I'll get into that. That was a few seasons ago. But is that quite a confrontational piece where people go, oh, I like that, so don't chuck that out? Or
yeah, you get a lot of that. And to be fair, I think actually the whole process is very like. Yeah. Very forward.
Which kind of links back to the psychology piece you were talking about earlier. So I guess, are you trying to always bring them into, I'm here for a reason. What are you looking to do? Let's look at the long-term journey and baby steps almost, yeah?
Yeah.
Pretty much it all comes down to building the trust and rapport. Like if you didn't trust either one of us, we wouldn't be able to get the result at the end. So I'd say like a good 75% of the process is building that relationship where you feel confident with me having your best interest in mind. And the reason why I'm saying things is to get you to the end result. And then obviously with some clients, you can be a little bit more blunt, a little bit more fun with them. And there's other clients that you sort of need to approach in a different way. So it's just being that tactful and playing each client as they are.
So why does a person go to a stylist?
There's a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
A lot of the time you get people that are just like, I'm kind of in a rut. Like I feel like I'm wearing the same thing all the time. Like it's just, I want to like, I want to change it, but I just don't know where to start. Like I just don't know what to go to. So you get a lot of those kind of people initially. You get people that, as I said before, might have gone through something, which like a breakup or a death or something like that really makes them go, oh, I need to like, like a lot of people break up. They're like, I need to go back to the gym and look good. But, this is like another aspect to that. And then you get stuff for like events, really. Like, I'm getting married. I need a stylist, or I've got, a couple of weddings coming up this year. I want to, update my suiting game or whatever it is, and they'll take you on. So there's a lot of different aspects. I don't think there's any one reason, reason or one. You never have like two in the same day, which is really the best part about styling. Everyone's different, as we know, and
that's what style
everyone's
is.
gone. Yeah,
Like the way I describe style is it's a visual communication of your personality. And no two personalities are the same. It's like as unique as a fingerprint,
That's awesome.
right? So people may have a common goal. Like you have multiple clients who will say they want to enhance their social game or their corporate lifestyle or an event. Cool, that's your end goal. But the destination, the journey, how to get there is completely different. Like I've worked with uni students to sort of help them on the social game, how to dress on a night out, how to dress for a date, how to dress for work interviews. But then I've worked with CEOs and executives to enhance their corporate role and their social lives. So it's a different approach. So
As a stylist, is the main job, is it always formal sort of attire, or do you guys do tracksuits as well? Like what sort of, like a stylist, is it always formal? Always suits, always stuff like that? Or are you a stylist for all sort of occasions?
so lifestyle pieces as well. So like t-shirts, jeans, pullovers.
Yeah.
I think if you go in
Tuxedos.
tracksuitos.
it can be done, but it
Is that
shouldn't
a-
be done.
is
Just
that a-
because it can be done doesn't mean it should be done.
Is that a thing?
If we can zoom in, because the look I just got when I said Tuxedos.
Oh no, it's the veins going now.
Is,
Hey,
that
I'm
a,
down for a tracksuito.
is it a thing?
No, I don't think so. Is
No,
it?
it's not a thing.
It should
Don't
never
do
be.
it.
It should never be a thing. So, as stylists, are you guys always on brand? Like, do you always represent yourself in a true word of like sense of the word?
I think you have to.
Yeah, you have to.
But like it also, it's not like we naturally like we're trying to do it. It just happens because like we're comfortable with it.
yeah,
Like pretty much anyone who knows me knows my go-to uniform, and that's like plain white t-shirt, black jeans, and then I'll put on a blazer or a cardigan and something on top just to mix it up a little bit. But that's my way of displaying my personal style.
Yeah.
And then if it's a little bit more of a formal occasion, I'll be wearing suspenders.
yeah.
So it's just like those are my little stylish games.
John, suspenders, what are they?
Braces.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, because yes,
Because we were having this conversation before, and I said I quite like suspenders, and he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And anyway, I didn't know what he was talking about. So, what's your idea of suspenders?
Let's just say it went south quickly. Anyway,
no pun intended.
exactly. And what's your go-to? What's your kind of dress down?
My dress down version.
Well, when you're not at work, because
Well-
mate, whenever I see you, you've always got a fabulous jacket on.
Thank you.
What's your
my
I don't know, your
chilled
Sunday
look?
chill vibe? I mean, are we rocking hoodie and Uggs? What are you doing?
Oh, I don't do Uggs. I'm not a fan of Uggs at all.
Okay.
Thank God.
Couldn't pay me to wear them. But my son, look, I'm actually a big tracksuit fan.
Yeah.
Like a full out, like matching.
Matching? Oh,
Matching,
no way.
yeah. Like you'll see me in like a full matching
Have you
tracksuit.
seen The Gentleman? The Guy Ritchie film, The Gentleman?
No.
Check that
You'd
out
love it.
because there's some wicked
Mint.
tracksuits in there. I think they're actually Adidas tracksuits, aren't they?
I'm not sure if that is. I know there's a company in the UK that started making them
Really?
based off the movie.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, but
Look heavy.
generally my look would be like some sort of chinos with like a oversized t-shirt and like a hoodie or just kind of chill. That's my if I'm not wearing a suit and if I'm not wearing a tracksuit.
I'm keen to. You said about job interviews. You spoke earlier about Steve Jobs. On the Steve Jobs side of things, he was always, and a lot of people now are coming out saying, I want to be really restrictive on my wardrobe because I don't have to think about what I'm going to wear, and I can put all that energy and process and everything into, expanding my company and my empire. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's a crock of shit.
Yes.
Like,
He's
love
in
the honesty.
the black skivvy today. That's why I thought I'd ask him.
he pulls it off though. Like, it
does.
works. But I think people who say that don't understand it's a cycle. Like, you need to sort of get to that stage where you've sort of earned that. You can't just go from 0 to 100 straight away and expect to be able to dress like that or think like that. If you can, cool. All the power
Unless
to
you're on a
you.
night out with Fernando. 0 to 100 real quick.
Too quick. Back to topic. Like, you sort of, once you get to that stage, like the Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs level, you've got the reputation and you know what you're doing. But you don't see the process of them to get to where they are. So you need to be meeting people, you're networking, you're growing the business. And for that, if you're going into a bank or if you're trying to get money borrowed, you rock up in a skivvy, jeans and joggers, New Balance joggers, people aren't going to give you like $100,000. So you need to present yourself. You need to earn the ability to sort of pull that look off. Like I've got a client, I'm not going to name names or organizations, but he loves his bright suits, right? He works in a top tier firm, really conservative, really corporate. But he's got to a point now he can wear like bright green suits, like 3-piece suits, like yellow suits, brown suits, long shaggy hair, have a beard. Because he's got to a stage now, he's irreplaceable and he's the best at what he does.
Right.
So you need to pay your dues and get to the level where you can sort of get away with it.
So you mentioned before 1920s is your sort of go-to.
Yeah.
What is it about 20s that you love so much?
I just think everyone took pride in presentation.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're just going down the road to get like milk or whatever it was, like you'd still dress up, you still make yourself presentable. People respected the fact that you were being seen in public, so you didn't want to put yourself down. So, and since you're also in front of people, you don't want to insult them by not being presentable. Like women would always do their makeup when they go out, even if it's just down the street. So I think it's that respect for each other. Like one of the biggest things that irks me is like when you go out and you're like shorts, t-shirt, thongs when you're going somewhere like fancy. Like I've had mates who that's their uniform and you go somewhere decent trying to have a lunch or a dinner and they're in something that's not appropriate for the place. Like
Dress for the occasion.
exactly. And I think that comes to a little bit of social awareness as well. Like, if you know where you're going, dress appropriately.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have that.
I think you're right, and I see it. I love people watching. It's one of my favourite pastimes, and you do see it where couples will go out for dinner or lunch or breakfast, and generally the female is immaculate.
Yep.
And her gentleman partner or the date is sometimes rocking jeans, a singlet and thongs sometimes and everything. And I do sit there and wonder because I like to look the part. I mean, you guys make me look excellent. Easy task, I like to think.
I was about to say that's not an easy job either.
Wait till you.
But you're right. I think sometimes it's like just go that extra notch.
Yeah, like you're a reflection of the company that you keep. So why wouldn't you want to sort of like make everyone like feel comfortable?
So what's your era? What's your favorite? What's your styling influence?
Ooh, that's a good question, actually. I think I'm always on the fly. Like,
Yeah.
I think I get a lot of my influence through sport, which is funny enough. I love like soccer, football, and just sport in general. And I don't know, I just through those kind of people that play sport, I kind of look to. I don't think I have some like era that I'm like, oh, that's the era. I do love the 90s because I was born in it, and it's kind of coming back now, which is good. So like oversized t-shirts and vintage t-shirts and that kind of cool stuff. But in terms of like suiting wise and dressing up wise, I kind of just go with the flow. I don't have anything specific. I might just kind of see what's happening. I do like soft tailoring, like very Italian, like soft tailoring. I'm a big fan of that. So
What's soft tailoring?
so it's kind of like in terms of the jacket that I'm kind of wearing now, it's got no like canvassing in it. It's basically just fabric on fabric. There's no shoulder pads. It just basically sits on you like a cardigan would really, but it's actually a suit jacket. So it's not formal and it's really easy to wear. It's very flowy. If anything, a bit of that, Italian style in terms of my suiting would definitely influence the way I dress. Because they do it good.
Yeah. So I've heard.
What's your look?
Me, trackies. Nah, I love 80s. So I love 80s retro.
You love your trainers, don't you?
Yeah,
I've never seen anyone with so many pairs of trainers.
I do like sneakers, especially like retro ones, like 80s and 90s sneakers.
I'm
I
a
absolutely
sneaker
love
fan.
it. Yeah. Are you sneakers or leather shoes? What's your favorite?
I actually, funny enough, used to be a manager at Foot Locker,
Yeah.
and
Got heaps of shoes.
yeah, I used to have about 140 pairs of sneakers.
Wow.
On stage,
God.
yeah,
Impressive.
That's
A
amazing.
majority of them were like Jordans because I was again
Yeah.
into sport, and I made a lot of money off it. Actually, funny enough, sold them all for good money. When
Now
I
you just rep brogues all the time.
don't even, I just wear loafers. Honestly, I honestly just wear.
yeah?
I don't wear any other. Like when it comes to leather shoes, it's loafers.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's pouring with rain, loafers.
Suede.
All
Both.
different. Yeah, suede, leather, patent, bit of this, bit of that.
Do you get shoes handmade as well? Being in style, I suppose artisan sort of handmade stuff is really up there.
I haven't, but it's definitely something I'd like to
Pretty
do.
exy
Yeah.
though. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a place down in Melbourne called, I think it's called Double Monk, that
Yeah,
does
there's one
some
in Sydney
sweet.
too.
There's a double monk in Sydney as well.
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Strand.
Why have you told me that?
Also, actually, next to it, Andrew McDonald, shoemaker. Yeah, I think it's Andrew McDonald. He handmakes shoes right next to Double Monk in the Strand upstairs.
Can you smoke cigars there as well in Double Monk? Because you can in the one in Melbourne.
No, you can't.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I'll
I'm
be
out.
mint. I'll get in Melbourne just for that.
Yeah. Smoking cigars, whiskey, you can get your shoes made.
Oh yeah,
It's really
Yeah.
cool.
I didn't know they actually made them at
Yeah.
Melbourne.
Yeah,
'Cause
well-
I don't think they make them in the Sydney.
No, not
one.
in Sydney. No.
Sydney, they just just sell.
Oh no, they full make them there and everything.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you go. Learn something new
How
every day.
exciting. Yeah.
let's do it.
You heard it here first. And on that, accessories. Talk to us about accessories.
Can you have too many?
Yes, you
Yes.
can definitely have. You're quick.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I mean, you can. You always can. Like,
What's too many accessories?
Alright,
depends what kind of style. Are you talking like suiting wise?
Well, let's stick to the whistle first, and then
Yeah.
we can,
Like, I think, again, it just comes down to style. If someone's style is about the accessories and they rock it, cool. Then you're not really wearing too many accessories. For example, if I started rocking too many accessories, like if I wore like a necklace and multiple rings, that would be too many accessories because my personality would be able to carry it. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So my style with accessories is minimal.
Yep.
All right. But for someone who can carry more accessories, they can. So it's like a yes or no thing.
I think
it depends on context as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
Comes
Like-
to what you're wearing. Like if your suit is loud and you're over accessorizing, then it's just like,
Ooh.
Yeah,
what
because
the hell's going on?
with a loud suit, that's the feature.
exactly.
Whereas
Yeah.
normally the accessories is your feature.
Exactly. And I think that's what it's all about, right? When it comes to styling, it's about
What compliments?
yeah,
Balance.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, I'm wearing a green suit. I need to wear, a white shirt because the
Frame
suit is the loud thing, and then
Is it
that's
more what not to wear rather than what to wear?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Because
suppose that's a faux pas thing, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
a bit. But I think it goes either way. Like if your suit's just a navy suit, of course you can accessorize. You can have a pocket square and a pin and a whatever else. But some people are like, oh, the tie's got to match the pocket square, or this
Yeah.
has got to.
I think that's another faux pas as well.
Yeah.
Too matchy.
Yeah.
Just have a bit of that spontaneity, like randomness to it as well.
Yeah.
Have a bit of fun.
But I think a lot of places actually sell that to
Yeah.
to guys.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, you bought this tie, we've got the matching pocket
That's
square,
good.
and
You're
guys
like-
are like, oh yeah, cool, and then they wear it, and you're like,
Like,
no,
ugh.
dude, it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
It's kind of static and cardboardy when you start matching it. I think.
Yeah. Cookie
Yeah, I've
cutter.
been guilty of that.
Yeah.
I've been guilty of that. I'm just.
Oh, we all have been. Mate, I look back on my photos from a few years ago
Yeah.
and it's just like, oh, what were you
Can we
thinking?
have those?
No. Never.
Burning them.
Yeah.
So is it the same process that you guys go through? Do you just stylists for gentlemen, or do you have female clients as well? And if so, is it that same process?
My particular niche is men. I got into it to help men.
Yeah.
I have worked with women in the past. I just figure my strength is working with men, so I stick to that. But I still do women every now and then if they're coming from a close friend.
Yeah.
But the process, it is similar, but there are some unique changes to it as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Same with you?
similar. Yeah, I kind of try to stick to men because there's a lot of women stylists out there, and they're doing their thing and they know it better.
Yeah.
I will take on a woman if someone's a friend that's requested it, but there's so much more in women's fashion than there is in men's, and there's so many different elements that I think sometimes. If you're not, personally, I'm a kind of bit of a perfectionist when it comes to it. So if I'm not across the whole thing,
Yeah, you got
and there's parts that I don't know, and maybe she's a stylish woman, but she just needs a bit of help. But she comes to me and she's like, "Oh, well,
yeah.
you're not that great, are you?" But so if you stick to what
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. I'm keen to get your thoughts on the kind of disposable fashion world now, and I guess the influence of social media, where people, because we're a selfie nation, we're posting a lot more pictures of us online. There's this bit around, I don't want to be seen in the same thing over and over and over again.
massively.
What's your thoughts on one? I guess on the on the way you guys have done stuff, because you talk about staples, and you said black jeans, white t-shirt.
Yep.
But in terms of the fashion industry itself as well, like how's that affected it all?
I think it's coming full circle, to be honest.
Okay.
I think
Especially during COVID.
Yeah, I think the last probably 5 years was just
Quick turn and burn.
bang shit crazy, man. Like everyone was just like, buy this, buy that, buy this, throw that out. I think now that the whole global warming thing was coming around and everyone was like, fashion industry is like probably the number one or number two industry that actually causes like,
Waste
in the world. And it's crazy. And like, if I've seen it on the other side of the spectrum, I think Fernando has as well, when you kind of actually, if you're in fashion, like if you're in a label or like my wife has a label, and you actually see how much sampling people do, and you go back and forth to get that garment correct, and once you get it correct, then all those other samples that you made are just kind of you hear places do sample sales or whatever. Like there's so much involved in it that I feel like now people are being a bit more conscious and starting to figure out, hey, if I spend, instead of going to, I don't know, let's say let's say Zara and buying a pair of chinos for $60, I'll go to somewhere else and buy somewhere for $250, because over 3 years I probably would have been to Zara 5 times to buy the same one, and I wouldn't have bought any more if I spent a bit more. And I think people are being a bit more conscious about that. Even you see big fashion brands now from top to bottom are starting to be like, oh, here's a biodegradable bag. Now, if but the thing is, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if they do a biodegradable bag and everything else. It's about up to us to actually bin that properly. So it's a bit of a
Okay.
But at least they're making.
They're trying. Yeah, they're definitely trying, and I think a lot of people are starting to spend a bit more and get those staple items like we've kind of spoken about, and you kind of work off that. I guess you have your staples and you spend the money on the staples, and then you can go to Target and buy a white t-shirt for $15 because it's just a white t-shirt. You know what I mean? So it's about balance.
Yeah, I always say the garments or the items that you use on a daily basis, invest a bit more in. So your wallets, your t-shirts, your underwear, your jeans, invest a little bit more because you're going to get a lot more run out of it. The number of wears is going to be a lot higher. And you're going to feel a bit more comfortable with it as well. Same with your shoes. You're standing on your feet all day. So spending $500, $600 on a pair of shoes, you're going to get a better quality shoe. Maybe it's stiff at first, but it will last you a lot longer than spend like $100, $150, $200 every, 6 months. So it saves you money in the long term. So invest in the core pieces that you will be wearing a lot of. And then, sure, if you want a statement piece every now and then go out and play around with fast fashion. But everyday pieces like your shirts, invest a bit more in it. You're going to feel a lot more comfortable in it.
I think it's bigger in the women's world though.
Yeah.
Than it is in the men's world.
Well, the disposable. Look, I see that as well. So I think you mentioned earlier on, black tie events, men have a tux, and we can dress that up, dress that down with the accessories.
Yeah.
I know when I go shopping with my wife, it's something that I've got to. She thinks about. She's like, "Well, who are we going with? Have we worn that before and that kind of stuff?"
100%.
And she's not even massively into the fashion world. She looks fabulous in my opinion, but it's just something we've got to. It's just something we've got to take in the mix. Whereas the guy, they get a suit.
Yeah,
and that's pretty easy from that side.
And with the whole wedding scene as well, guys will come in, get a suit to wear on the wedding day, and then recycle it to use for other occasions and work. Yeah. While with wedding dresses, they look phenomenal on the day. How often do you get to wear it again afterwards?
Don't even get me started.
Yeah, that's
in terms of
the
price investment,
hanging up, and I'm like, it's just. But I guess
it's a very expensive garment.
Yeah,
to wear once.
Very
crazy
garment to wear once.
People complain about motorbikes being expensive. That was a personal thing.
They're worth it though. Yeah. The rush you get, amazing. Yeah,
100%. Jesus, I just found out today that you ride motorbike.
Yeah, riding today. Oh, it's
we're going to talk.
Let's go on a ride instead.
Do you want to get closer?
Yeah, 100%.
You're right.
No. Social distancing. So speaking of COVID, by the way, how has COVID sort of affected the fashion industry or the business?
Massively.
Everything pretty much went on a hold and on pause, and I think that's the notion of sustainability come into play. Like people were just wanting more quality pieces because they saw an influence on how the fashion world was influencing the environment. So I think people jumped online a bit more, so the online sales went up. But then it just went all into like casual wear, like tracksuits and
loungewear.
hoodies, loungewear, exactly.
It's I think COVID's been, it's actually it's been a bit of a catch-22 for fashion because there's one half of it like luxury fashion is really struggling in some places, and there's the demand of fashion shows that were going on from a luxury point of view was, you know, crazy. Like they used to just be like once or twice a year or 3 times a year, and then it would do just like literally like just back to back to back to back, always constantly showing new seasons. And that side of things has taken a halt because obviously people can't travel, all the rest of it. But then on the flip side, the whole fast fashion thing, like there's loungewear, people who have loungewear just selling out, like completely selling out. Like because people are at home, they're bored, they're not spending money, and they're kind of like, oh, well, I'm going nowhere. Half the other people are getting government handouts, and they're like, oh, yeah, cool, I'll just buy something online. So, but then like you have a lot of big brands that have all this stock that they've purchased that can't be sold, you know, and they're like seasons behind. So they're basically like, you know, the 6 months that it has passed with COVID that they've kind of been half shut down. There's all this stock that's just backlogged. So they're like, we either bin it or just go on sale for the next 3 years to try and get rid of it. So, and obviously brand is very important to, you know, fashion brands, and it's kind of like, where do you sit to be able to protect your brand from not just being like, hey, I'm on sale 24/7, or and then also having all this stock. So it's funny, and seeing the trends of like all these places actually selling out of loungewear, and I've heard some few stats about a few companies that March and April have been their best selling months ever.
Wow.
Like e-com platforms.
Yeah.
Just purely based on loungewear. Like like the highest growth they've ever had just based on that. So, and you will see it in the trends happening now. Like if you jump online on social media or anything, you just constantly see, you know, this brand currently bought out tracksuits, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
You're a wedding dress maker.
Yeah.
Well, how did that happen?
The Gucci waking sweatpants.
Yeah.
So I'm keen to go back to one of Fernando's points earlier on then about showing up, and your brand being a visual communication of your personality. How do you do that on Zoom? Because I know there's a lot of funny things going around about, the gents might just have a shirt on and then like, their boxer shorts on underneath. And but how do you make sure that you're looking your part on Zoom? Or is that actually, is that one of these other loungewear pieces where people just go, well, I'm not in the office, so my headspace is, I'm just going to wear what I
Can
want
I
to wear.
just say, Fernando has like a massive Dr. Evil chair when he's on Zoom, and it is
Does it?
suits his look very much.
Did you give it these ones? You get the pinky?
Yeah,
you spin
he's just
around?
got this monster chair, and it's like triple the size of him. So he's great on Zoom. Zoom him.
That's the thing. Like during the whole COVID period, I was still getting dressed up.
Yeah.
Like I was still wearing like a tailored shirt, cardigan, tailored trousers, just to get into the mindset of working. So going back to your question, I think it all comes down to self-awareness and knowing yourself to perform to the best. So for me, getting dressed up sort of puts me in the mindset of work and being professional. So I think if you prime yourself to with little behaviors before, like getting ready, doing your hair, picking out a shirt, a tie, a suit, then naturally you're going to be in a point of conditioning where you're going to perform a lot better on your Zoom interview or your call, rather than just being in like 15 minutes before, tracking on a shirt, keeping trackies on, and a blazer on top. I think you're setting yourself short by not taking that time to prepare. Because I think the whole getting ready to go to work thing is such a big thing.
Well, it's a ritual, isn't it? It gives you that time. And I know one of my challenges was, living in an apartment is you get out of bed and you walk through to, the lounge where you normally have dinner and watch TV. And normally I walk into work and it's half an hour, so you can prep yourself up for that day, or people commute and they're, got a podcast on or it's got some tunes on, so you can mentally prepare. But to go from one room to the other, I found that quite tough to process that. So we actually got into another ritual of going for a walk. Yeah. And we'd do a walk around Blackwattle Bay, or we'd do a walk into the city. And that was then our kind of preparation ritual. And you'd come back and then you'd get dressed, ready to rock and roll for the day. So I think it's funny you mentioned about the mindset side of things.
It's like the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, right? Like, for example, a simple thing is rushing into work. Say you're late and you're rushing in. That mindset you're carrying on throughout the rest of the day, right? And same thing with getting ready. You're trying to prepare yourself to be the best. Little details, little milestones, little actions all account for a big finish at the end. So,
Fernando is also a psychologist on the side.
Clearly.
Is that why he's got the big chair as well?
So if you ever have some troubles, just give me a call.
I did see one of your videos where you were crying. Is that what happened?
we're just excited.
I was only joking.
It's like, wait, I was crying.
Wait, that was online?
I was like, I haven't cried. Oh.
$100 and it's yours.
So you spoke, I was reading an interview about you and you mentioned nudie jeans.
Yep.
So I guess going back to that sustainable, that kind of piece, they're quite famous for that. One, why do you like nudie jeans? And I guess the question to you both is, what are your go-to kind of brand names if you're going to rock some brand names?
For me, like, yeah, nudie jeans, I'm wearing them right now. Like, I would wear this on the motorbike. I'd wear it to dinner. I'd wear it pretty much everywhere, anywhere, just because they're really heavy duty. Like, they're comfortable, they last. Really low maintenance as well. Like, I'm really lazy when it comes to getting ready, like super lazy. But once you got the right things, it's fine. So that's why I use the black jeans and a white t-shirt, because that just frames everything. So I can add a bomber jacket and be fine. I can wear a cardigan and be fine. But if you do the simple things right, it looks amazing. So it's simple. And then for the t-shirts, I just go with AS color. So really high quality, really good price, and just really good fit. I was actually testing out a lot of white t-shirt companies and brands and materials. I think I went through about 20 white t-shirts and always came back to AS color. Like, really, really heavy duty. Recommend.
And how about some of the bigger names? Are you a fan of the Louis Vuittons, Tom Fords, the Gucci's?
I'm not
the Pradas?
much of a label guy, but love Tom Ford.
What makes him special?
I think just the amount of awareness that he does into all his products. Like, everything's got an experience behind it. From the moment you get it, to the way you open it, the way it feels in your hand. Like, the simple things as the zipper on the wallet, it's just so buttery smooth. He's taken time to think about every little thing. Just the embossing on it as well. Like, his fragrances, his garments, the quality. He's got everything's an experience when you put it on. So really, really respect and admire that.
If you are Tom Ford, we'll give you Fernando's details. He's clearly looking for a deal. It's funny, we spoke to a winemaker on last week's show and we were talking about Chardonnay being buttery smooth. I've never heard of a zipper being described as buttery smooth.
Mate, that's the thing. Like, the first time you pull it open, like, oh my God.
You clearly don't have a Tom Ford wallet.
I clearly don't. And how about you, buddy?
This is a funny one because growing up, I was into like nudie jeans and those kind of things. And as I've gotten older, I've actually always kind of been a bit of a brand slut.
Yeah,
which
right.
is and it's not because I didn't ever love a brand. I think it was more that I love to experience other brands. And I've always been into fashion. Like, I've always loved to find something new that no one's heard about, or try something else, or so I can't really say that there's always, the only thing that's been consistent in my life in terms of a brand is Nike shoes.
Sure.
Or Nike sportswear in general. Like, if I'm going to the gym or whatever, that's probably the only consistent thing. Apart from that, when it comes to jeans, I've always changed it up. When it comes to t-shirts, even suiting and everything, prior to Oscar Hunt, I always used to change it up because I just like to find something new and fresh. I am into designer brands. I would say I am. And that's to an extent. I feel like some of them can be really good. And I do like to find a lot of new luxury brands that are coming out, and find stuff like, you might have heard of Fear of God and a few other brands that have collaborated with Nike. And there's a new
Off-White.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's stuff like that. If you actually understand the journey behind those designers, I love like the designing side of things, and that's what really drives me to buy a brand more than like seeing it in a shop. So I actually kind of research into designers and what they stand for. Like, Then you got guys like, you know, Song for the Mute, which is an Australian brand, which is doing really well. And you know, all these guys that have come up from nothing, that have designed brands and become, you know, really famous now, and actually doing more with what they can with their brand, kind of like doing movements and, you know, really putting back into.
Do you think influencers play a big part as well?
Yeah, but I think so.
As much as you don't want to admit it, but
Look, definitely they do, but I don't think I follow any like male guys that really influence me in any way, shape, or form.
So you would be technically an influencer then. If you're a stylist and you have followers, then you're an influencer then.
I prefer the word educator.
Yeah, I
Nice.
wouldn't really. I'm not really an influencer. I don't do
I like
much
that as well. Influencer is such a horrible word now as well.
It's a bit bastardized.
Yeah,
like,
big time.
going back to your topic a little bit earlier about trends and influencers, like the whole Justin Bieber drop crotch thing, when he was wearing that, I think that's the sending point. It's the same thing with Kim K's and their branding and their accessories. As soon as someone like that rocks it, everyone wants to follow their own sort of someone else's trend. No one wants to set their own trend. I think that's the biggest thing that gets mixed up in the styling world. Like, people need to want to set their own trend.
I think it also comes to even in the car game. Like, you see those celebrities driving a Rangy. And then everyone's like, oh, I want a Rangy. Or driving a G-Wagon.
Yeah.
You know, and then Virgil Abloh's just announced that he's doing something with Mercedes on the G-Wagon. So, you know, I think it's...
Horrible car, by the way. That's the most ugliest car I've ever seen in my life. Sorry for everyone who likes a G-Wagon. You're a G-Wagon person, aren't you?
My wife is. She's the G-Wagon. I don't mind them, but...
I like a Rangy. They're a nice looking car.
Yeah.
G-Wagon.
I prefer the G over the Range.
It looks like it's an unrendered video game. It looks horrible.
You know what? There's actually a fun fact. It was actually designed by the Persian Shah back before the revolution.
Yeah.
And he was the original designer of the G-Wagon.
Yeah, right.
And he was going to import them all to Iran.
Yeah.
Before he got overthrown. And then Mercedes actually made it a car. So it's got a bit of Persian.
Okay.
It's a bit of heritage. Gotta love it a little bit. Fun fact for you.
Well, sorry, bro.
That's fine.
It's funny how you were talking about the backstory, but how you like to kind of understand a bit more about the designer, how it's made, where it's made, that kind of stuff. How important is the experience now of people? Again,
Massively.
because you're absolutely right. We saw a massive surge in people buying things online. But how important is that in-store experience to keep
Massively.
that coming through, so we don't just go all online?
It's so important. I think that's the only reason why people go in stores, like, for that experience. Like, people want to feel special when they're spending money with you. But I think working at Oscar Hunt now has tainted my expectation of service when I go everywhere else. Because, like, we always go above and beyond. Like, if anything is wrong, everything has to be smooth and perfect. And then that's what makes it fun, because you're working with someone's identity, you're working with someone's presentation. It's an honor, it's a privilege. So you want to make sure they feel comfortable with it. So when you go into like retail spaces and it takes forever to get served, or you get attitude, or you cop a bit of shade, and you're like, what's the point? Like, I'll get somewhere else. I'll spend money elsewhere. Like, I just think that people need to invest a bit more in the whole end-to-end experience.
Yeah. I did find when I visited where you guys work at Oscar Hunt, like how it looked, it was really like for us in the automotive industry. So I work with big brands, luxury brands, so Ferrari and Maserati. So it was very bespoke like that. I got that same sort of feeling, and it made me feel like really good. And you don't get that a lot. It's like sometimes for a guy going into the fashion world or going to buy some garments, you know, you feel a little bit intimidated. You go in there, you think, you know what, is this the right thing? Am I doing this? Like, am I copying someone? Or, you know, like you're looking around a little bit puzzled thinking, is someone going to fucking help me? Or what? Like, I'm sitting here like looking at something, I don't know. I don't know
save
what
me.
I'm doing.
Like,
someone help me. And then you get some twat come up and it's just a horrible experience. And you know what? Fuck you, ain't buying this shit. Walking straight out.
Exactly.
It's true, but I think it's...
You're right?
Yeah.
Good.
Just
I
get
love
off
that
your
emotion.
chest
Keep
there.
it coming.
As I said, Fernando is a psychologist.
But when I went in with you guys, it was very easy. You know, it was very very casual, and it was a lot more personal. It was awesome.
I think that's what we're about, and I think it's a big thing. Like, think about food industry. Like, you go somewhere, the food might be amazing, but if the service shit, you're like, fuck that place. I don't want to go back there.
Totally.
Doesn't matter how good the food is.
Totally.
You know, if there's no vibe and the person is like, the people that are serving you are just like, you know, and I think that relates to this industry even more, as you said before. Like, everyone's jumping online, so you have to give a good experience. I think now customer service is priority in everyone's brand.
Yeah.
Like, you think of any brand, it's customer service first because you want to make sure they're coming back because everyone's got options now.
Yeah.
It's not like the old days where it's like, hey, bro, I'm going to charge you $8 for a bottle of Coke because I'm in Homebush and you can't get anywhere else. You know what I mean? But now it's like,
everywhere.
It's everywhere. Like, you can go anywhere online, buy any whatever, you know, everyone's doing the same kind of things. There's no one doing one thing that's new. You would see it a lot in, obviously, your industry being in the car industry, that automotive, that it's all about that service and that relationship. So we see it a lot at Oscar Hunt, and that's what we pride ourselves on. If we don't do that, then, you know, they can just go anywhere.
See, one of my mindsets around that is if you've got like an upset client and they reach out to you directly, that's a sign of trust and ability to fix something. Because if they're upset and disgruntled, and it's quite easy for them to go elsewhere, right? And they're like, oh, I'm not going to bother with it anymore. But if they come to you with a problem, it's because they know you can fix it and they can have that communication and trust with you. So to a degree, an upset client or customer is a good thing. Places need to understand that. Because some places, they take on the feedback as criticism, as in like, oh, they take it personally, but it's actually quite the opposite. It's trust.
It's an opportunity.
Exactly. So just shifting that mindset perception.
I was literally having that conversation with a friend the other night. We were talking about, he used to go to a restaurant all the time because he liked a particular dish. And then he went there a few times and the dish was just a bit, it wasn't where his expectations and previous experiences had gone, right? So he just stopped going back there. And I was like, well, how many times did you go to this place? And he would literally, they'd be every month, kind of boys' lunch every month. I said, why don't you just talk to the manager? I said, they might have changed food supplier. They might have changed chef.
Exactly.
If you've been going there all the time, they would have recognised that. And actually, it's an opportunity for both sides to tell you the story as to why.
Exactly.
But then also to you to give that feedback. And because you go there all the time, you've got the trust, you've got the relationship. That's more powerful than just stopping going.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think it's and one of the experiences I like about your place is that it's also not on the high street level. You know, it's whilst it's in the CBD, you've got to go into a building, you've got to go up to level 2, and you it adds to that experience where you are actually getting a jacket, trousers, shirt, whatever you're getting done, pocket square. You know, you're getting that.
Yeah,
it's anonymous. It's like an escape from the busy world of the CBD. Yeah, like you come in and you can hide out for a couple of hours. Like we've got clients that come in just to escape or wait between meetings or whatnot, and just like to zen out. Like the way the whole place was designed is comfort in mind. Like the whole place looks more like an apartment building or a loft as opposed to like a workspace. Yeah. And what's more comfortable than your own home? You know, especially when you're working with someone's presentation.
Yeah, you got a good bar as well.
Oh, delicious.
You got a good bar.
Yeah, shouldn't say that too much, but good options.
Well, gentlemen, look, thank you very much for coming along and joining us this morning on Lifestyle Pirates. It's been a pleasure to listen to your journeys, just to see how you two are looking this morning as well. Where can we find you guys? Have you got Instagram handles, websites? Obviously, we can see you at Oscar Hunt anytime we like.
Yep.
And that's cool. But where else can we locate you?
You can find me at the Trendy Brother on Instagram.
Lovely.
And Facebook. But
Awesome.
mainly Instagram.
Now I'm on Instagram and Facebook, the Mark of Style _fest. So, but I think I speak on behalf of Bayan when we say thank you so much, guys, for inviting us around and being.
It's a pleasure having you guys on.
No, it was really good.
Absolute pleasure. And I'm going to steal a quote from your website that I read this morning, where you say every client is a unique masterpiece in the making. So with that, we will see you next week.
See you guys.
See ya.